One of the innovations I wanted to go through quickly today is the water tank system we're using here at the house. So these are called Aquacomb or Aquacomb pods, and they're manufactured by Remtech. We've used these tanks now on most of our dwellings in Sydney within concrete slabs for about 2 years. So they've been around for a while. The advantage is when you use a waffle pod slab. So this here is a polystyrene waffle pod, and essentially a conventional slab, and I'd probably say 80% of slabs in Sydney are manufactured or constructed this way, is that there's a series of pods in a grid layout such as this that the concrete's poured over the top of, that produces mini ribbed beams through the slab, and it's quite an easy way to form a slab by not having to cut out strip footings. So what the Remtech Aquacomb pod does is it essentially just replaces a foam pod. Now what I've got here, this is a thinner pod, just for an example. So typically the pods are the same height. This is a 300 pod, and that's a 225 foam pod. But under this slab, we've gone with the 300 Remtech pods, and we've got a series of about 38. It's about a 10,000 litre tank system. So we harvest the rainwater. The downpipes on the back end of the house are collected and by these tanks, and then when they're full, it overflows into a normal stormwater system. And they're connected via these penetrations in the side of the tank. Pipes connect the tanks, so obviously as they fill, the series of tanks fill at the same time. The real innovation that we've put in place here with the pilot home is, as I mentioned in the fly-through earlier on in the blog, that the house is super insulated, it doesn't leak air, so it lends itself to not requiring a huge amount of air conditioning. So we are using a heat recovery ventilator to ventilate the space, and that heat recovery ventilator maintains a constant temperature by transferring energy between the stale air being exhausted from the house and the fresh air being drawn into the house. So I'll go through the heat recovery ventilator once that's being installed, but it's just worthwhile noting that the innovation is that when we pull in our fresh air, that we're going to draw it through the series of tanks. So if it's hot outside, essentially the fresh air will run through all 38 tanks and act as a ventilator or a radiator, so it'll cool the air. We expect that it'll probably take off between 8 and 10 degrees out of the temperature of the air. So we should see a drastic reduction in energy use in trying to condition or cool that air.